Welcome to the Secret Improv Podcast, where we share backstage secrets from the world of improv. I'm Kristian Ruggieri.
And I'm Goose Duarte. We are members of Secret Improv Society, a show that has been running for 18 years downtown San Francisco.
Every week, we explore a new random topic about the craft of improvisation. No script,
No limits,
no secrets.
This
is the Secret Improv Podcast. Okay, what's our topic?
I'm going to ask ChatGPT. Can you read that?
Not with these glasses.
Oh my God.
Okay, yeah. Here's a great topic for your podcast. What are the limitations of improv shows? You can discuss things like time constraints, audience expectations, the challenge of keeping things fresh, or the difficulty of balancing comedy with storytelling. Let me know if you want a different one. The limitations of improv
It says
shows.
all of that?
Yeah.
Okay, can you read it again with your mouth in front of the mic?
Yes. Yeah. Well, you just told me to bring my other glasses.
Forward.
Are you recording it right now?
Yeah, the whole thing's been recorded.
Oh, God damn it. Okay. Here's what it says. Here's a great topic for your podcast. Stop it. What are the limitations of improv shows? You can discuss things like time constraints, audience expectations, the challenge of keeping things fresh, or the difficulty of balancing comedy with storytelling. Let me know. I guess we don't need to read. Let me know if you want a different suggestion. But I did. Too late now. So the limits of improv shows.
Limitations of improv. That's interesting. The first thing that comes to my head is taboo. Right?
What do you mean?
Well, there are things that sometimes people feel we should not joke about.
I remember taking my first classes. Incest isn't funny.
Right?
That was very much hammered into me.
Yes. Incest isn't
Not by a relative.
See, it is funny.
So sorry, taboo subject.
Yeah.
Incest,
Is there such thing? This is something that's come up a lot in the media recently because comedians feel, like stand-up comedians, feel that jokes that would have been okay in the past are no longer being considered okay. People are offended and people don't want to be offended in comedy and this whole thing. There's also a lot of comedians who say, hey, just do your job, right? The whole point is to, how did Ricky Gervais said it? Jerry Seinfeld was talking about J.K. Lewis, and he says he's dodging all the lasers, right? He's like walking through a minefield. He's able to allude to all of these things, make funny of all of these things, without actually saying anything really offensive.
So here's the difference, though. You're talking about stand-up comedy where people have time to, and maybe this person improvises. I don't know who this person is.
Right.
But for most people, at least some of their set, they have thought about, they have written, they have practiced on the road, and so they have found the way to dodge the lasers. Whereas we are saying things in the moment that come into our head, and so it's much more challenging to imply a taboo subject without speaking it out loud.
Yes. No, I agree with that.
Especially since we don't practice, we do get suggestions, 9/11, porn, the Holocaust. We get suggestions of things that are taboo, and we more often than not either don't take it,
right,
or find a way to neutralize it.
Right. Yes, find a way to neutralize it, I think, is to me what dodging the lasers is, right? Find a way to accept the suggestion. They say 9/11, and you don't have to necessarily perform anything that is going to be triggering to people,
Right.
even worse, offensive. Like, you don't have to be offensive in dealing with these taboo subjects. And to go back to the whole thing about the difference between stand-up comedy and improv, it is harder for us, but it's also more forgiving. Because the audience knows that we're dancing on the edge of the spin. Right?
I suppose,
And also, it'll never be said again.
Right.
Right? When a stand-up comedian says something offensive, you think, oh my God, you were at home, you thought about this, you wrote it down, you rehearsed it, you polished the words in the best possible framing, and that's what you came up with?
Right.
So, it's harder to forgive something that is planned versus something that is just, it came out and it's like, oh, bad pun. There it is, right?
Yeah.
Like John Dramack, I don't think you were at the show. Maybe you were. But we were singing the song with one letter where every line starts with the same letter. Mm-hmm. And we asked for somebody's name, right? And, she said Nancy. So we sang the word Nancy and every line in the song started with the letter N. And when we finished, as soon as we finished, John says, "Oh, I didn't realize there were so many N words."
Yeah,
that's the kind of thing that's forgiven because it's an improv show. It came out, it's hilarious. We all laughed at it.
Yeah,
and I don't think anybody could have possibly been offended by him saying that. Right. Now, if a stand-up comedian finishes his punchline is, "I can't believe there's so many N words." Yeah, he's going to have to do some tap dancing to get away with that.
Yeah. I also think, and this could be me projecting, if I'm going out to an improv show, I'm not going out because I want to be offended.
Right.
You know what I mean? I want to be entertained. I want to laugh. I want to have a good time.
Sure.
So I, as an audience member, I am not going to say a suggestion that's a taboo or potentially offensive subject.
Right.
And if somebody else does, and the improvisers take it, I am going to be very nervous until I see what happens.
Right. Is that a bad thing?
I don't know.
Because there's something titillating about that place where you're nervous. They're not going to, are they? Oh my God, are they going to say the thing? Right. And then whether we say it or we artfully evade it, there's going to be a little bit of a payoff in that. Mm-hmm. In fact, I would postulate that. Excuse me. I would postulate that the best way to handle that is to avoid doing the obvious thing for as long as possible. Yeah. And then doing it. Yeah. And then you're increasing that tension, that moment of like, oh, are they? Oh, no, they don't. Oh, wait, no, they didn't. Yeah. Until you finally do it. Once they figure out that you don't have to, once you no longer have to, then you just do the thing. And I think it's very funny. Yeah. For me, no, thank you. No, thank you. It's too. I'm not interested in being edgy. I think, or I will say this. Maybe that's not it. Maybe my desire to not offend is much stronger than my desire to be edgy. Right. And play with that. How do you take something offensive and honor the suggestion, but not offend everyone in the audience? Right. It can be done. Yeah. Yeah. I don't feel like that's one of my strong suits. So my preference is 9/11. Oh, I heard butterflies. Thank you. What? Just don't take it.
Yeah. Yeah. Or take it and do, Right. Oh, can you believe it's my birthday? Yeah. September 11th, 1975. And just kind of I heard you.
Or you're a convenience store that opens from 9 a.m. to 11 p.m.
Yeah.
You're called 9/11. Yeah.
Yeah. And we were talking about this, I feel like not that long ago, when we had at least one rehearsal, maybe two, where we as a group practiced what do you do when you get those offensive suggestions from the audience. We kind of practice how can you take it, but not do the offensive, obvious thing.
Right. And that's the skill. That's really
right.
It's actually more fun because that, to me, that's what dancing the edge means.
Yeah.
Right. It's taking the suggestion and saying like, yes, I heard 9/11, absolutely, and then doing something that has nothing to do with what they're expecting you to do.
Mm-hmm.
Right. There's definitely an art to that, and I think that's how you dance that edge.
Yeah.
And the only way to find that line is to occasionally cross over it.
Right.
Right. And I don't think that is helpful for me as an improviser who wants to be in the moment, responding to what's happening presently on the stage, to also be thinking, oh, but don't think of a pink elephant.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Because then that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So being afraid of offending somebody, for me, I find that it inhibits me. Mm-hmm. And I don't know that I am a better improviser if I am afraid of offending people.
Right. Right. I would say, I mean, I don't think you're alone in being inhibited by not wanting to do something offensive. Yeah, that's all. You're not alone. You're not alone. I feel like a similar thing is, we say on our website 16 and up, but we let in whoever comes in, and we've had over the years plenty of times.
Well, we'll let minors sing with their parents.
Yes,
it's not like there's 14-year-olds coming into the show.
No. But sometimes parents will bring children that are younger than might be appropriate for the type of stuff that happens because we are mostly uninhibited, and so we don't know. Right. And we don't set out to make every scene about abortions and terrorism, but sometimes that's what the audience gives you. Right. And that, and even curse words. You know me. Yeah. I swear a lot. Can't fucking help it. Yeah. And so I feel when I see little kids, I go when I'm doing the Oreos and see little kids, I come back and tell people like, oh, there's a kid. The problem is when people ask how old, I have no 7, 14. I can't tell them apart. I don't know. But then I that does put, like that inhibits me when I think, oh, okay, come on, man, keep it PG-13 because we actually have a 12 or 13-year-old in the audience. Right. And I try to keep in mind, hey, you're the one that brought your kid to this. Right. So that's on you, not me. Right. Also, what world am I living in that some 12-year-old hasn't heard curse words before? Right. Because I was cursing at 12, and that was a long time ago. Yes. And so...
That was before the internet.
Yeah, so I'm sure these younger people are not anywhere near as naive as I was when I was their age. Right. But still, I do feel when I see kids in the audience, like, oh, be careful. Yeah. Are there any other limitations?
Well, when you were talking, one of the things that occurred to me is that we do play with accents a lot. Mm-hmm. And, if you're going to do a Southern accent or a Boston accent or a Massachusetts accent, nobody cares. Mm-hmm. It's totally fine. Mm-hmm. British, Australian, sure, no problem. Right. But then when you start doing Indian accents or Chinese accents, suddenly
Right.
the world is falling apart.
Right.
Why is that?
So, okay. I have so many thoughts right now. First of all, it's the concept of punching down, right? And that punching down and making fun of people in lower status, lower economic positions is not cool, right? That's just being a dick. Like, it's okay to make fun of people in more power than you, but not people with less. So, does that mean that everyone who comes from somewhere that isn't white English speaking place is lower power? I mean, I don't think so anymore, but that's certainly kind of the, I feel like that's the moral compass we're all working with.
Right. And I don't disagree with the punching down theory.
Right.
I really don't.
Right.
It makes sense. But the question that I ask is, are we punching? Are we making fun of these accents when we try to emulate them?
Right. I don't think that we are, which is why I don't think, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I certainly haven't been in every show, but I don't remember anyone coming up to us after a show and saying, "How dare you?" I don't remember any bad reviews, like, "I can't believe you were doing the most horrible Jamaican accent I've ever heard." I haven't, like, nobody's got up and walked out of a show.
Yeah.
And we do, like, if some character in a scene has an accent, we don't preface that with anything. It just happens, right? When we do accent switch and we get the accents, we usually say, "Hey, this is not meant to offend anyone from, Boston, Russia."
Or when we're speaking their language in the translated.
Right, and doing the translation scenes, we also say, like, "Oh, my accent may sound a little bit different than yours." And so I think in scenes where the accent is the focus of the scene, I think we do a pretty good job to set the expectation of, "Hey, we're having a good time.
Right.
Don't get mad."
Right. Yes, we do that. And the times where we could possibly offend somebody are small, are very minute. But I also think that there's something else to it, right? When you are, like, when the joke is the accent, when the funny thing is the fact that we consider that someone having an accent is funny, then that's punching down. I learned English in the U.S.
Right.
I know exactly what that feels.
Yeah.
Right. But when we're just emulating it, when we are doing our honest best to honor the way that person speaks,
right,
then what's funny is our failure to succeed.
Yes.
Right. Then the joke is on us because we're not able to actually do this correctly.
Yes.
Especially with the accent switch. And I think that matters. I think that matters to the audience. And whether or not they feel like what happened is offensive.
Right.
You remember the movie Tropic Thunder?
I mean, sort of. Yes. Yes, I do.
Robert Downey Jr.
Yes.
In blackface.
Yes.
At the same time that Robert Downey Jr., the same year that Robert Downey Jr. did Iron Man. And he was not canceled. He barely got any backlash. I'm not saying that no one was offended. I'm sure there's some people out there who were offended.
Right.
And I'm sure that most of them were white people postulating, like, what do they call it? Virtue signaling their offense to go, "Oh, you can't do that." But every interview I see with black people, when they ask them about that, they go, "Oh, no, that's fun, man. It was funny. It was on good fun," right? Just like they give Quentin Tarantino a pass for using the N-word, right? Like Samuel L. Jackson defends him, and he's not even trying to be funny.
Yeah.
Right? He's just using it. So I think the intention on whether or not you're trying to offend, you're trying to mock the other person, or if you're just doing it because that's what your character calls for.
Right.
I think that makes a big difference.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that might also apply to the other areas outside the accent, right?
Mm-hmm.
If, like you said, if we were doing a scene on 9/11, it may be that very same day. We're just not actually making fun of the events.
Right.
We're not making light of it. We're not ridiculing. We're not thinking. We're not saying, "Oh, that's funny that happened," because it's not.
Right.
But we can still do a complete scene that, like a tragic scene that just takes place in the Twin Towers or whatever,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I think I agree with you that our intention is important, and I think that we make it pretty clear to the audience, especially in something like accent switch or when we're doing the dubbing, we are trying and we're not that good and we know it, and it's okay to laugh at us trying to do these accents, and then especially in the accent switch when they switch and you can see you can see our heads exploding live on stage.
I did a scene in Russian the other day with that Russian lady, and I was quote speaking Russian.
You were so Italian in that.
It's exactly what they said to me after the show.
Yeah.
They come over like, "You were speaking Italian." I was like, "No, it was all gibberish."
It sounded. I was in that show, and it totally sounded Italian. That's it this week on the Secret Improv Podcast.
If you like what you heard, subscribe and share this with your friends and lovers.
We'll be back next week with another random topic and more unscripted wisdom.
I think we have enough.
Yeah. Good. This was actually kind of fun.